Good evening. We finally have something positive to talk about on this live. A great performance followed by a great victory. Let's talk about it on Alex's Tik Tok Takeover. Return of the pack. Return of the pack. Sorry, couldn't help myself. Yes, Lucas Paquetá was back, and it showed in the performance. We put in a great performance last night. We won the game 4-2. Some great goals. A hat-trick by Jared Bowen, fantastic drive by Emerson, and some fantastic performances throughout the whole of the squad. And we've been dying to see that performance for such a long time, and we knew it was there. We knew the players were capable of it, didn't we? We knew it, but it's just been lacking so much. And you saw the confidence that the return of Lucas Paquetá gave to the whole squad, and every single player on that pitch was putting in a much better performance. It was full of energy. There was attacking progress, and we just looked so much better all round, on the ball, attacking, moving about. It was just different. And it's amazing how one player can enact such a change in a team. And you just wonder, why can't we play that way when we don't have Lucas Paquetá on the side? Because himself, he didn't have the greatest game. I mean, he did okay. He had a good game. But, he wasn't like a linchpin for anything in particular. I think it was just his presence there that seemed to give all the other players on the field a bit of confidence. And Bowen was outstanding. Kudus was outstanding. Paquetá and Emerson on the left, fantastic. Souček, I'm so impressed with Souček's performance. Really am. I haven't seen Souček play that well in absolutely ages. He had some lovely touches on him yesterday. He really did. But yeah, it was a great performance. Obviously, there is still some things that we need to address defensive wise. There are still some issues. Zuma is still a worry. I thought Mavropanos had a very good game. I thought Sofel had a great game on the right. Emerson, I've already mentioned, on the left. It was a very positive performance. And Moyes has pulled it out of the bag. He was under pressure, and whenever he seems to be under pressure, he seems to be able to pull it out of the bag, and he did exactly that last night. So you've got to give credit to David Moyes. I know that Lucas Paquetá has come back, but if you're going to criticise David Moyes for the performances on the pitch when they're poor, you've got to give him credit when they're good, because you can't just give credit to the players, because then you've also got to criticise the players. So, credit to David Moyes. He did all right yesterday, and he hasn't kind of like saved our season. He hasn't like saved his job, or he hasn't persuaded hundreds of West Ham United fans to suddenly start supporting him again. But if we continue putting in those performances week in, week out, I think he will start to sway a few West Ham United fans, because that was more of what we wanted to see last night. It was. And yes, there was still some things in there we weren't happy with. So we talked about the defensive stuff. We talked about, maybe sitting back a little bit after going 2-0 up. I think Moyes himself wasn't happy about that. And I think that's probably more down to Zuma at the back, bringing back that high line, because we were playing quite a high line, and that was allowing us to attack a lot more. And after the second goal, we did drop back, let them come at us a little bit, and that's how they did get their first goal. But in the second half, we held back very well defensively, and when Brentford were really pushing to try and get that equaliser, we were holding our own back there. And then a great cross by Kudus, met by the head of Bowen, and a fantastic try from Emerson kind of sorted it out. And yeah, we still got one back, but it was a comfortable win in the end. It was, even though we were a little bit nervous going into the last 15 minutes because, we're West Ham United, we're always going to be worried. Did end up to be a very comfortable win. And it was a much better performance, something that we have been absolutely dying to see for a very, very long time. So I'm personally very, very pleased that we got that performance, that we saw it. And I hope now that we've got our full team back, that we are going to see some much, much better performances going forward. And hopefully we see exactly the same thing again at Everton on Saturday. So, who have we got in here tonight? Let's have a look. Hammers, Mikey. What is going on? Sorry, give me a second. My view says, there it is. It's come back. Right, sorry. You just went blank there for a minute. Hammers, Mikey. West Ham United Premier League wins without Paquetá, 0. West Ham Premier League 11. Moyes got a stay of execution again yesterday thanks to Paquetá. Lucky. Back to the same old crap at Everton now. Cough in your host. Well, I mean that is the big fear, isn't it? That we this was a one-off, and I hope it's not a one-off. And yeah, we can say, but any team would miss Paquetá. Every team misses their big player. You look at Manchester City. When they haven't got Rodri in the side, they're not the same side. Especially this season. I don't think they've won a game this season when Rodri hasn't played. So are you going to say that, Pep Guardiola's season has been saved because Rodri's come back and things like that? You buy these big players because they make a difference and they're game changers. And then when they're not playing, it's going to have an impact. Now, I'm not defending Moyes because I feel like we should be playing better football with when Paquetá is not inside. We've still got the players to do it. But he obviously gives confidence to the other players on the pitch as well. So it's more than what he just does. It's something about him because, as I say, the confidence that all the other players looked like they had yesterday was a lot better. And would you complain, though, if you saw a performance like that every single week? If we were seeing more performances like that every single week, and you wouldn't mind, would you? You wouldn't. So, yeah, I still worry about our Premier League season going forward. I worry that Paquetá might get injured and we'll revert back to what we saw for the last 6 weeks. I worry that this was just a one-off and we're going to go back to some very poor performances. But we were playing on the front foot a lot in that game against Brentford yesterday, and I hope that Moyes sees that now as a way to go forward, and he tries to do that in every single game that we play, because we've got a lot of games coming up where we should be doing that. So hopefully we'll see. And, let's try not to be negative. We've been very negative over the last 6 weeks. Let's take the positive and let's try and be positive about it and try and look forward, because I've had enough negative. Now, if you're wondering why I might sound a little bit out about it, I've got a really sore throat and I've got a little bit of a tickly cough. So we're going to try and take a few breaks here and try not to overdo myself, because I talk too much and get a little bit out of breath at the moment because I'm on antibiotics and that. So we'll see how we go. Anyway, we're moving on. Manchester, sadly, Paquetá is the only player that can make key passes between the lines in tight spaces. Yeah, but he didn't get an assist yesterday, did they? I mean, he was involved, but, the assists come from Emerson and Sofel, which was a pass from Kudus, and Kudus got one of the assists, and the other one was a deflection back to Emerson. So Paquetá wasn't directly involved in any of the goals we scored yesterday, but he does offer a lot of other options. As I say, it wasn't his greatest game that he played yesterday. He did well. He didn't look 100%, but I think it was just the confidence that seems to come out of all the other players when he's on the pitch. It's just really strange, really strange. Avid, Moyes saying we actually set up to win last night emphasizes why he needs to go. We should always try and win, especially against the lower half teams that we should be beating. Yeah. I think he's been trying to do that. I don't know. Maybe defend, but yeah, you're right. We should always be setting up to win. We should, but as I say, I don't want to really kind of go into too many negatives. I know there's still a lot of negatives around David Moyes over the performances over the last 6 weeks, but let's try and look at this as this one positive. Let's try and be try and smile and try and think, right, okay, this is something to build on, and hopefully we see a similar performance against Everton on Saturday, and then we can build on that and build on that and build on that. But yeah, I have the same worries as everyone else that the performances are just going to go backwards. And as I say, I'm not suddenly back on the Moyes bandwagon or anything like that. I still have my worries. I still have my concerns, but I just feel a little bit more positive now. I've seen that we can do what we did last night. Now I know that we're doing it. It last week I was feeling that the players had completely given up on David Moyes. That's how it kind of felt. But that performance last night showed me that they haven't, and that's why I feel a little bit more optimistic, because it shows that they haven't given up on Moyes. They're still Moyes' players. They're not down in tools or anything like that, and that performance showed it. So that's why I feel a little bit more positive, because last week and the last few weeks, that is kind of how I felt, that the performances on the pitch made it look like that the players had given up. And now that we've seen that they haven't, I feel a little bit more optimistic about the season ahead. I'll take a breath. When Paquetá went off, we went back to normal. I think we naturally did what a lot of teams do at the end of games. It's kind of like sit back and try and hold on to the lead. I mean, I wasn't a fan of us doing that either, but Antonio wasn't really the player to kind of come on and take Paquetá's place, because he doesn't have that same impact, and he didn't have a particularly good game when he came on. But Paquetá needed to come off. We can't have him on for 90 minutes of every game. And as a member, you just come back from injury. He probably should have gone off a little bit earlier. And I probably would have preferred he went off a little bit earlier. But I think yesterday it's just that we went back into that. We just need to hold on to this lead now. And after losing so many games and having so many negative results, I can kind of understand that thinking a little bit, because you just want to make sure you win. But going forward, I hope that we try and snap out of that a little bit. That's what I would hope. Excuse me. John, I thought Souček had a good game. Yeah, I thought we had a brilliant game. It was one of the best games I've seen Souček play in a very, very long time. I think he was very positive thinking. I think he played a few key balls. He had some nice touches on him. I don't think I remember seeing him lose the ball once. Made some great interceptions as well. So he definitely put in one of the best performances I have seen. Evening, Stuart. Evening from Essex. Evening from Essex too. Same when Pyatt was here, relatively toothless when he was injured. Yeah, definitely. I think the difference between when Pyatt was at West Ham and Paquetá now is that we didn't have the players we had now when Pyatt was there. And so I think that's why I get a little bit more frustrated with it, because I feel like we should be doing a lot more with the players that we have when Paquetá's not in the squad. And it was more understandable in the time when Pyatt was there, because the players around him weren't as talented as the players that we've got now. So I get what you're saying. And I think it's actually a little bit worse, because we're not putting in those performances when Paquetá's not there. Di Canio, there it is. Stuart, we need to drop Zuma now. Yeah, Zuma is definitely a talking point, isn't he? Because he just doesn't look right. And he hasn't looked right for quite a few games. You got nervous. I mean, I was in the stands, and like we all were like, kind of like, whenever Zuma got the ball in a kind of like dodgy area, because you're just always worried about, is he capable of doing it? But he did okay. He wasn't fantastic. He did okay yesterday, but he is definitely a worry going forward. And I can't see Moyes dropping him because he's captain. But there's no full-on centre-back partnership that I am 100% comfortable with. I mean, Mavropanos, I think, put in a great performance yesterday, but Aguerd worries me. Bongo worries me a little bit because of his age as well. So I think you're always going to have that little bit of when it comes to our defensive partnerships. Definitely. So, yeah, Zuma, but I don't know who you would put in, who's going to give you that little bit more security. That's my worry about dropping Zuma. Hammers Mikey, Paquetá could just stand there and do fuck all, and the players would still get a lift. Replacing him in summer with a player like him would be no impossible. Yeah, I mean, what happens in the summer happens in the summer. I saw a report today that apparently West Ham are worried that this betting scandal is going to go on. It's going to hamper us trying to get 85 million for him. I don't see that as a problem. If that is the problem, we keep him. Fine. I'm more than happy to have Paquetá for another season. 100%. I'd love him to stay at West Ham United. But yeah, trying to replace him and trying to find a player that can install that confidence into the players like he does is that is definitely going to be a worry. But that's not a worry that we have to worry about until the end of the season. But I get you. The contract on the table is the right one. Steiden on recruitment, Moyes head coach. You reckon so, Damien? Now, I'm still not 100% sure if Moyes should be manager next season. I'm not 100% convinced. But if the performances go like that, if we see more performances like that from last night, I may be swayed, especially if we do well in Europa. But yeah, at the moment, I'm still not 100% convinced myself personally. Phillips will be back soon. Is back to 3 or 4 holding midfielders. Yeah, I mean, that is the question because Phillips is going to be back for the next game. Now, I personally think that he should just go with the same starting lineup that started last night because I think they all performed well. They done the job and they got the result. They should be rewarded. I don't think we should be dropping anyone to put Phillips back in the side, even though I do think Phillips will be a good player to have around. 100%. I would have Phillips start in the game against Freiburg personally after the Everton game. But for the Everton game, I would keep exactly the same lineup than what we had from last night. Irish time. If anything, last night's game just showed even more that we need to move on from Moyes, get a manager who will play like that all the time. I agree. I mean, it'd be great if we can play that all the time. But if Moyes played that like that all the time, would you be happy with Moyes? I mean, we know he's not, but we know that he still has been a successful manager. It's still like a really kind of frustrating thing, isn't it? Because you know that the players can do it. Now we've seen it. We also know that Moyes is able to play that way. And so, yeah, it's the question of why doesn't he play that way every week? And if he doesn't try and do it, then, yeah, I totally agree with you there, Tommy, 100%. But if he does play like that every week, if he suddenly kind of something's clicked and he goes, oh, this is the way to play, and then he plays like that till the end of the season, do we go, well, no, that's what we've wanted. That's what we've got. So, I don't know. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Hammers Mikey, Moyes shouldn't have any input at this if he leaves. Why put him in a coaching role? Like say, integrate players. Oh, God. That's a bit harsh there, Mikey. I don't know if Moyes will have any impact when he's there or not. Irish Tommy, Kudus looked like his head is right again too. He was definitely affected by getting knocked out of the AFCON at the group stage. Yeah, I did think that about Kudus. Like the last few games, he didn't seem quite right, did he? And last night, he definitely seemed more on it. He was getting down that wing a lot more. He was taking on players. You could see him getting frustrated. You could see him taking a few shots. And I think he's desperate for a goal. But his performance was a lot better as well. But I think every player put in a much better performance yesterday, including Kudus. But it's good when all three of them are on fire. Like, I think once they're all 100% fit, because I don't think Pack is 100% fit yet. I think Bowen is there now because he had a little injury, and Kudus is maybe a little bit behind, but I think he's near enough there as well. But once they're all 100% fit, I mean, that attacking line is scary. We've seen it. And if we can play to their strengths, we will be a nightmare for any team in the Premier League and in Europe. We will be, with that front three, a nightmare. It's 3-2 to Man City. Luton are coming back. Do you know what? I completely forgot that the FA Cup games were on tonight. I was too focused on this. But Luton are coming back. I can't see him coming back. That'd be mad, though, wouldn't it? Right. Zuma was dead after being tackled in the 70th minute. No, he worries me, Zuma, don't he? He does. He just kind of limps about a lot of the time. Right. So let's talk about a few of the performances yesterday. We'll come to Peck yesterday, but I want to talk about this man, Emerson, because that goal was a beauty, an absolute beauty of a strike. But him with Paquetá down that left is incredible. They work so well together. They got such a great communication. And I just feel like he is one of the most underrated left backs in the Premier League at the moment. And he's definitely, I feel like he's been one of the most underrated players at West Ham. I think he's definitely been one of our most consistent players. Because whenever you talk about changing the back four, the only player that ever keeps his place is Emerson. Now, that could be because the only backup we've really got is Creswell. But it's also because he's reliable. You rely on him. You know that he's going to put in a shift. You know he's going to put in a good performance. There's only been 1 or 2 games where he has struggled. And I just feel like for the value for money for him, because I can't remember what we paid, but it was ridiculous amount. Something silly like 11 million or something like that. It was a ridiculously low amount that we paid for him. And I know that a lot of West Ham fans thought that he was more of a wing back. But I just remember that conference final where he was one of the best players on the pitch. He put in a great performance in that game. And ever since then, him at left back, he's got to be the first, without question. Like, he's like that first name on the team sheet. He's one of only probably about 4 or 5 players that should be the first name on the team sheet. Because I think he has been absolutely amazing this season. And I would not have a problem if he was if he came out to be Hammer of the Year, because I think he would deserve it at this moment in time. But let's have a look. What else we got? We got Toha. I'm still siding with Areola for my Hammers of the Year. Areola, he made some great saves again yesterday, didn't they? A question for Mortis. Okay. What do you think of Mavropanos' performance, and do you think he should have? Was that question for me, Damien? Because you said question for Alex, question for Mortis. Do I think he should be playing more seasons? I think Mavropanos should get more game time. Yeah, I do. I definitely feel like Mavropanos should get more game time. 100%. So how do you guys feel about Emerson? Because I feel like that relationship that he has with Paquetá on that left-hand side has worked really well. And we've seen many times this season the way that they work with each other, and we know that they get on really well. And he came out after the game, Emerson, and I can't remember exactly what he said, but he was talking about the confidence that Lucas Paquetá gives to him personally and the rest of the players on the pitch. It's just a natural boost for them to have Paquetá back in the side. And how sorry, it's that tickly cough is coming back. And as I say, I just feel like he put in a great performance yesterday. It was great to see him score that goal. We know he's got a great strike on him. It'd be great to see him do that more. But yeah, we know that's not what he's known for. But yeah, I feel like he has been a fantastic player for us this season, and definitely one of our most consistent ones too. 100%. Right, where were we? We can talk a little bit about this man. Let's have a look at some questions here. I reckon Moyes lost it with a lot of the players' underperformance last month, and they gave him an answer. Okay, you think they gave him with their performance yesterday? You think that they were not fully behind him, and they were like, right, this is what we can do? I guess that's a possibility. I think, but I don't know. I feel like it was a natural boost for the players to have Paquetá back. Maybe it's a little bit of confidence. I don't know. It's strange for me why there is such a massive difference in the performances between when Paquetá is in the side and when he's not. Like, what does he actually? Because he didn't do, as I say, he didn't do a huge amount yesterday. But as Emerson said, like, he gives all the players confidence. Like, what is it about him? Is it just because he's Brazilian? And so is the answer sign more Brazilians, please? I don't know if that's the answer. I don't know. Emerson and Pac turned out good. They've been good all season, them two together. They work really well together. Krish, told you last week that we really need a miracle, and that's happened. You think last night was a miracle? You think it was a miracle? I thought it was a very good performance. I wouldn't say it was a miracle. I thought the guys worked hard and fully deserved their win. And it was very pleasing to watch. You know, we were olaying them. You know, but for good reasons this week, because the week before we were olaying them for bad reasons. Or against the Arsenal game, we were olaying them for bad reasons, but we were olaying them for good reasons in this one. Paquetá makes more tackles than Soucek and Joe. He gets everywhere, Paquetá. You're right, and he definitely adds a lot more to the side than just his technical ability. He's a hard worker. And I've heard some people call out for him to possibly be captain because of that hard work. And I wouldn't be fully against it. I just wouldn't want to limit him. You know, if he's captain, maybe you have to calm down a little bit. I don't want him to do that because I think he puts in a solid performance every single game, and he's definitely a hard worker. We've got evening from an Everton fan. Well, good evening. How are you feeling about our game against Everton at the weekend? You know, given that fine performance we just put in, are you worried? You should be. We have this man back. Chris, do you think Phillips is a flop signing? Not at the moment. No. Give him another month. Like, we get to the end of March, and if he still hasn't put in a decent performance, then yeah, maybe. But no, I think he's been a little bit unlucky. I think he's lacked match sharpness because he's, lack of football. So I wouldn't say he's a flop signing yet. He has the potential though. But no, give him a little bit more time. I think once he gets a few more games under his belt, I think he'll be all right. Evening. Brian, Aguerd needs to start over Zuma. Both have mistakes in them, but Aguerd has fewer. And if Moyes is going to continue to play that way, Aguerd is more suited for going forward. You can't argue that because one of the things I heard today was that when we start dropping back after going ahead, that is something that Moyes doesn't like. He tries to discourage it, but it's Zuma that does it. He tends to drop the defence back a little bit to try and hold on to a lead. And you're right, Aguerd wouldn't naturally do that. He is a more forward-thinking defender compared to Zuma. And yes, he does have mistakes in him. I don't think Aguerd so much has like mistakes. I think he's one-on-one defending, which really worries me. Like in the box, you've got a player coming at him, and he just worries me that he can get turned a little bit easily, or someone does a dummy and he gets fooled a little bit too easily. But I think that's also a little problem that Mavropanos has. Now, I like the centre-back pairing of Aguerd and Mavropanos, both similar players, both got some pace on them, both can bring the ball forward as well. But what Zuma has is that close-up defending. That's something that he is very good at. Yes, he had a mistake and his passing is a bit worrying, but he's very good at that close encounter defending. Very good, very, very good at that. And I think that is the area where Aguerd and Mavropanos maybe lack a little bit. So that's probably more why Zuma is in there. But Zuma, I think, is the player that brings the defence a little bit back further than we would like. Now, I don't know how true that is or not. It's literally just something that I heard that apparently Moyes doesn't like. He doesn't want the players to sit back. If he doesn't want it, why does it keep on happening? I don't know. And if it does keep on happening because Zuma's do it, why do you keep Zuma? I don't know, but it's just something I heard. But yeah, I like the idea of Aguerd and Mavropanos, but I just worry about their one-on-one defending close up. I think it's turned a little bit too easily. 5-2 City. It was 3-2 City a minute ago. What's going on there? Oh, sorry, guys. You have to give me a second. My daughter's just come up. I will be right back. Okay, guys. Just give me 2 seconds. Do apologise. I'll be right back. I do apologise there, guys. My daughter woke up and my wife was dealing with my other child and just wanted some help with something. So do apologise. I am back now. I have to keep it down a little bit though because they are just up a bit. So do apologise for that. Right, where were we? Right, anyway, right, back to it. Think Aguero would be good in a back three or left back up. He did look good down that left, didn't he? I think it was against what was the game? Yeah, against Nottingham Forest. He did look good going up that left hand side, attacking wise. So I mean that's definitely something to maybe look at in the future. But I can't see Moyes going that route personally. Everton ain't great, but we struggle up there. Could be an interesting game. Yeah, historically we have struggled against Everton over the years, definitely have. But hopefully we can get a result. I hope. See you Saturday, West Ham. I'll see you Saturday, Everton. Well, the fans that are going to Everton will do anyway. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everton getting their 4 points back, so that will be that'll be a bonus for them, really, won't it? That will definitely help them confidence wise, having those points back. Family is a priority, mate. Yeah, I do apologize. Like my daughter sleeps in the room, like just up at bed. So my wife was dealing with my other daughter. That daughter came downstairs, which is very unusual. Usually she doesn't. Just comes in like, I want my mum. I say, I'm sorry. I go get her. So yeah, do apologise for that. I just have to keep it down a little bit. So I'll just kind of lean into the microphone a little bit more so you guys can still hear me. We should have done what I said and given Dawson his own helicopter and helipad. Dawson was a fantastic defender, wasn't he? He was. We do miss a defender like that. 100%. We definitely do. No more point deductions is on the way for Everton. Yeah, there is a few more coming your way, isn't there, Everton? I do fear for that. Happy Amaret, how you doing this evening? I was surprised at how well Sofel played last night. Yeah, I thought he played really well. I was like, I think the comment I said to my mate in the game was, what have they given the Czech lads this evening? Because both of them were like on it last night, like little ticky-tacky moves and quick touches and movements. Both of them put in really great performances. So I don't know. Maybe they're taking personal lessons from Paquetá. I don't know, but it seemed to work really well, and that partnership with Sofal and Kudus is really starting to come together as well. It's coming together quite nicely, not as well as the Emerson and Paquetá partnership on that left-hand side, But it was good to see their movement and communication together between Sofal and Kudus. I think that worked really well last night. So that's something that could be exciting for the future. We need a new centre back that will smash everything and hopefully isn't Maguire. Yeah, I mean that's good to have a smash it up defender, isn't it? But that's not the way we want to play. Apparently, we want to play nice football to pass it around, don't we? But having a defender that can do that, definitely. Hammers Mikey, what we got here? Best defence in league, still not sold on Mavro, Donkey, Agueda mistaken in waiting to happen again, dodgy at the bag, Zuma, Horse, Oggy, Aldrin, soon to be, Chris Wolf. Very positive there, Hammers Mikey, very positive. Look, Mavro, yeah, I'm not fully sold on him yet. I wouldn't call him a donkey. Agueda, a mistake waiting to happen. He hasn't actually made that many mistakes. I think Mavro has made just as many mistakes. And in the grand scheme of things, actually, West Ham have made the second least amount of mistakes that have led to goals in the Premier League this season. Individual mistakes. West Ham have made the second least amount. There are 18 teams that have made more mistakes leading to goals than West Ham United this season. Still too many for our liking. We don't want to see any, but we haven't got the worst in the league. That was a really interesting stat I saw the other week. Now, I don't think it's got any worse for us since I've said that. I may be wrong now. Are we doing? Sofal has 6 assists now. Yeah, he got assists for Bowen second, didn't he? Which was a lovely cross. Got to talk about Kudus' cross though for the third. That was a beautiful ball over, weren't it? Very, very beautiful cross that. You like an emoji, Hammers Mikey, for sure. I think it was one particular emoji that he liked in that comment. It must be on his favourites. Stuart, what do you think about the European Cup draw? I was surprised. I didn't think we could get Freiburg. I honestly didn't. I'd read it in like 3 or 4 different places that we couldn't get Freiburg. I was obviously wrong. But we could have had worse. We could have had AC Milan. We could have had Sporting. We could have had someone else. But we didn't. We got Freiburg, a team that we've already beaten twice so far this season. Now, as people rightly have pointed out to me, we beat Arsenal twice before in this season. Doesn't mean we're going to win the third time. Of course it doesn't. But Freiburg, very different team to Arsenal. So I feel like it's a draw that we can, it's a tie that we can get past. And now we have our best team available. I think we can do it. I really do think we can do it. Evening, Amaret. How are you this evening? Damien. If Chris, if Phillips doesn't perform well for the rest of the season, do you think he could go back to Leeds in the Championship? Or who's going to buy him if he can't perform? If he can't perform at West Ham United in a team which really he should be very suited to try and perform in, then that is the question. I mean, there is still a fantastic player in there. Don't get me wrong, there still is, and I do still think that once he is at full match sharpness, you will see the best of him. I still do believe that, but I feel like it's going to take that little bit more time. It's a shame that he had to miss, obviously, last night's game. Would the result have been the same if he played it? We don't know. We don't know what kind of confidence Paquetá would give to him. Paquetá could be the missing piece to Phillips playing well as well. We don't know. So that'll be interesting to see. But as I say, I don't think we'll see him start in the game against Everton. I think we'll see the same starting lineup, but I think he will come on. So we might get a little bit more of an indication of how his match sharpness is going. Hopefully he's been working on his fitness over the last 2 weeks to try and build up that match fitness, even though it's not match. Maybe he's just running and playing football as much as he can. So hopefully he is building up that match fitness a little bit. Good win on Monday helped us out there. Yeah, Brentford's down there at the moment. It's not looking good for them. Did help you out a little bit. Anyway, right. So let's move away from the comments for a minute and let's talk about Jarrod Bowen. 14 Premier League goals this season. 14. And I need to remove that comment. There we go. 14 Premier League goals this season. All from open play. Not a single penalty there. 2 less Premier League goals than Haaland. Or 3 less than Haaland. 1 less than Mohamed Salah. The only 2 players who have scored more Premier League goals than him this season. The player who has scored most Premier League goals in a single season for us is Paolo Di Canio. Did that in the 1999-2000 season, scored 16 goals. So he's only 2 goals behind him. So he is more than likely, I would say, this season to be the player who has scored the most ever goals for West Ham United in a Premier League season. And he could also reach that 20 goal mark, which would be incredible. And now that we have Paquetá back, and now we have Kudus back, he's going to get the service to be able to score those goals. So, how impressed! And what makes me question this as well is that you get a lot. I've seen a lot of fans say that he can't play up top, and I would agree that his best position is probably still on the right. But the fact that he's been playing up top for the majority of this season and he's still scoring goals, I think shows that he can do it. And out of all the wingers that we have converted to striker, because Moyes did it to Arnautovic, then did it to Antonio, now he's done it to Bowen. I feel like Bowen has definitely been the one that has performed best. And not only is he on his way to becoming, the West Ham player that has scored the most Premier League goals in a single season, if he does this again next season, if he scores at a similar rate next season, he could be West Ham's all-time Premier League scorer by the end of next season, because I think he's on 41 goals now. 48 will make him second, and then Antonio's on 63. So if he continues scoring at this rate this season and next season, he could be West Ham's all-time Premier League goal scorer by the end of next season, which I think is mental. And at the moment, he needs to be on the plane to the Euros. He needs to be on that plane. I just can't see I can't see an option that is better than Jarrod Bowen. Now, I'm not saying that he will be playing striker or he'll be in the starting lineup, but he's got to be on that plane, hasn't he? I mean, absolute fantastic season he's having, and after the end of last season as well, he deserves it 100%. 100%. Southgate will still ignore him. I hope not. Sorry. Just have it. Michael Freiberg home to Bowen. Going to watch to see if they have improved. Maybe. We'll have to see. Hopefully they haven't. Hopefully they get worse. That'd be nice. What a legend. Oh, thank you. I'm assuming you're talking about Bowen now. Hammers Mikey, what price would you put on Bowen? What's his worth so far? I'd like to say about 65 million. What his actual worth is probably around that. It's probably around 60 million. But what anyone would have to pay for him is in a different ballpark. So, like, if anyone wanted to try and buy Bowen in the summer, they'd have to pay more than Arsenal pay for Declan Rice. Now, this is not me saying that he's worth it. I'm saying that's what West Ham would insist on someone paying. So when everyone says, oh, he's going to move on, he's going somewhere. No, he's not. He's not. He's on a 7-year contract. And West Ham are not going to let him go for anything that they don't think is worth it. So realistically, he's probably worth around 60 million. What he's worth to West Ham, though, is so much more. So much more. He is worth more to West Ham than Declan Rice was, in my opinion. I honestly do believe that Jarrod Bowen is worth more to West Ham than Declan Rice was. I'm not saying that Jarrod Bowen is a better player than Declan Rice. I'm saying that he has a bigger influence on the game for West Ham than Dec did, in my personal opinion. So if anyone wants him, I feel like that they would have to pay a lot more money than Arsenal paid for Declan Rice. I saw a comment that Alvarez kicked off in the dressing room. I've heard that he has kicked off in the dressing room before, but I don't think he kicked off in the dressing room after this game. I don't know if that's wrong. I mean, he might have done. You didn't know the old Frankfurt manager, Palace manager. Yeah, the Frankfurt manager that beat us in the Europa League a couple of years ago. Yep, he is the new Palace manager. How will he do there? We'll have to see. I have a question for you. Jarrod Bowen was the 7th different player to score a Premier League hat-trick for West Ham United. And it's only the 8th time this happened. So a player has scored a Premier League hat-trick for West Ham United 8 times. Can you name the other 6 players who have scored a Premier League hat-trick for West Ham United? Now, just going by memory here, the last one was 2020 against Norwich. You should all get that one. The one before that was 2016 against Arsenal in a 3-3 draw. The one before that was 2013 against Reading in a 4-2 win. The one before that, 2005, I think. Might be 2005. It was 2005 against Aston Villa in a 4-0 win, I think. Then it was Sheffield Charlton in a 4-4 draw against Charlton 2001. 4-2 win over Sheffield Wednesday in 1997. And a 3-0 victory over Manchester City in 1994. I think that is it. Can you name the other 6 players who have scored Premier League hat-tricks for West Ham United? I want to know if you can do it. Antonio for one. Yes, Antonio for one. Yeah, that was the Norwich one. He got 4 goals in that game. Andy Carroll for one. Yes, in the 3-3 draw against Arsenal at Upton Park. I remember I was in the stadium. I remember criticising, saying that he was effing useless. I remember particularly saying that. Tony Rose on my going, he's effing useless. Why do we keep on playing him? Why do we keep on playing him? And then he goes on and scores a hat-trick. And I was like, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Can you name the others? Di Canio? No. Di Canio never scored a hat-trick for West Ham United. Kitson, can you tell me which game and how many did he score? How many did Kitson score? Happy Hammerette, Nolan, yes. Nolan got in the. I'm gonna have to look it up, aren't I? I've got it. What do I do? Nolan got it in the win against. No, I'm giving in. Nolan got it in the 2013 win against Reading. Nolan did. So yeah. Hammer Mikey now, please. Seriously, Howard? Masuaku? Yeah, he did it all from the sidelines. Boogers. Marco Boogers. I don't think he even got a hat-trick of appearances, did he? Let alone a hat-trick. Roberto, hat-trick of home goals. Nolan, yeah. Tony Cottee, yes. Yeah, that was the 1994 one against Manchester City. I was in a car. I was in my dad's car listening to that on the radio. I think we were coming out from a garden centre when that happened. But, I remember Tony Cottee's hat-trick. That was great. Was it Wimbledon? No, there was none at Wimbledon. No, none at Wimbledon. Arnie? No, didn't he? So Cotty did. Yeah, we've done that. Can we hear your Mavropanos chant, please? I'm going to try. Right, sing of it. How did it go? It went. Constantinos Mavropanos expianadocious. When he strikes a ball, sometimes it's really quite ferocious. If he strikes it sweet enough, his goals would be outrageous. Constantinos Mavropanos expianadocious. It's a mouthful, I know. But I couldn't help myself. It took me ages to figure that out. Stop Googling. Do it off Marlon. Yes, Marlon Harewood against Aston Villa in 2005. That's the one I was most surprised about when it happened. Because I remember it happening. I was there. But no, Arnie didn't get one. No, Cole never got one. You're right there. Kevin Nolan got one. Hartson never got one. Ashton never got one. Marlon Harewood, he was great, wasn't he? He was better in the Championship, but he did all right. He did all right in the Premier League. He was great in the Championship, Marlon Harewood. All right, so the 1994 one was Tony Cottee. We've already covered that. We've got Harewood in the 2005 game against Aston Villa. We've got Kevin Nolan in the 2013 game against Reading. We've got Andy Carroll in the 3-3 draw against Arsenal in 2016, and the Antonio one from obviously 2020 against Norwich when we were in COVID. We're all sitting at home watching it. So there's the two games. The same player scored the hat-trick in both games in 1997 against Sheffield Wednesday and in 2001 against Charlton Athletic. This is the only player to score 2 hat-tricks for West Ham United in the Premier League. Can you tell me who that player was? Oh, Chris just jumped straight in there. Paul Kitson. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. One of them I remember watching on telly because it was on like Monday Night Football. The other one, I was sitting on a fishing bank. I was fishing at the time, listening on a little portable radio. But yes, Paul Kitson, the only player to score 2 hat-tricks in the Premier League for West Ham United. And one of only 7 players to ever do it in the Premier League for West Ham United. Just the Premier League era we're talking about here. Not before, not in the Championship, just the Premier League. Because that's really all I remember, because it's all been Premier League since I've been watching football. Not that football didn't exist before the Premier League, I know it did. You did actually, yeah, fair dues to Damien, he did come out with Kitson earlier. But yeah, it was Paul Kitson who got 2. So yeah, Jared Bowen has joined a very elite list of players who have scored a hat-trick for West Ham United in the Premier League era. Vic Watson, that's your era, no? How old do you think I am? Exactly. Don't know how to take that. How old do you think I am? I know of Vic Watson, but no, that was not my era. my era was the Canio era. Like my favourite, I love Tony. There's a. Oh, do you know what? Oh, I can't. That means loading onto it. No, there's I found my dear mother found pictures of me in a West Ham top when I was young. There's a picture of me wearing a Tony Cottee top. Like it was a top with Tony Cottee on, and I was fishing when I was like 10 years old. It was great. I was going to show it, but I can't upload it right now. If someone reminds me, I'll upload it for next week's show. Maybe we'll see. Let's see. You are not usual, Alex. I'm insulting someone else. Okay, Tofa. Is it Tofa? Am I saying that right? I just want to make sure I'm right. Best ever West Ham Paolo Di Canio. Yeah, the best ever West Ham goal, Paolo Di Canio against Wimbledon, of course. We weren't talking there. You're shy at S engages, but let's say 36. I'd take that. It's not a bad guess. It's not. I'm 37 and I'm 38 on Friday. It's my birthday Friday and I'm 38 years old on Friday. There you go, giving it all away. So yeah, so I'm hoping I've got an early birthday present with West Ham winning on Monday. I'm hoping for a delayed Christmas present by Everton winning on Saturday. Can't get to the game, that'd be great, but I'll be watching it from wherever I am, hopefully. And hopefully they will give me a nice birthday present because I'm now 38. 45. Jokey. Just call him Togs. Tog her. That's just wrong. I'm gonna say Togs. I like the whole idea of Togs. Yeah, Togs are dope. You would love to be 37 again. It's not always cracked up to me. I say as my back cracks. Bowen was proper class. Yeah, happy birthday for Friday. You're 58. Cool. 50. So I feel this is good. Keep it going. I'm feeling young again. Keep it going. You know, if you're older than me, keep it going. You're making me feel young again. I like it. My favourite ever West Ham United player, Paolo Di Canio. I loved it. I mean, look, Bowen he's quickly catching him. Quickly, this man right here. But yeah, I'd start watching Di Canio back in the day was just masterful, brilliant, beautiful. Joshua, you're 21. Now you're making me feel old again. Stop it. Chris, 13. See, that just sounds wrong. I do like a nickname which I'm pleasant. What is going on in here today? Right. Alan Devonshire for me. Oh man, I know that name. Yeah, okay, a player. There's loads of players that I would love to have seen play. Alan Devonshire was one of them. I mean, you go back to like Bobby Moore. I would love to have seen play live, and because like it was the anniversary of him passing at the weekend, wasn't it? I think it was Saturday, and I've got posters. I've got a poster up here, a great one with Bobby Moore on, and I've got the ones up there with him lifting the European Cup and the FA Cup, and with Martin Peters and all that. So there's just some of many players that I would have loved to watch. But out of the ones I've ever watched, and I don't know why I've gone all blurry. There we go. That's better. Out of all the players that I've ever watched in my era, I mean, Di Canio was definitely my favourite, 100%. The best goal I've seen West Ham score in my era was Lanzini goal against Spurs. I don't think that wasn't the best. I mean, like if you to say like the best feeling goal, then that is definitely up there. Like greatest feeling. The biggest shame that I don't think any fans were allowed at that game, which was the real travesty. The fans couldn't have been at that game, but yeah, Lanzini, loved it. No, not the greatest. I think Lanzini scored the goal that he scored against Crystal Palace. For me, was a better goal. You know that it was like tap, kind of like doing keepy ups and then volleying it into the top of the net. That was a better goal for me from Lanzini, personally. But that one means probably a little bit more. Love the goal he scored against Everton in the FA Cup semi-final replay in 1980. So that's before my time. I wasn't born till 86. Only ever saw Bobby play for Fulham, because that's where he went. He was only there for like a season or two, wasn't he? So Trevor and me met him, had an enjoyable conversation with him at a charity golf day. That's cool. Was it when I first started work? I started working at a tap company, and they made kitchen appliances and stuff like that. But they made these filter taps, and I worked in sales, and like the customers would call up and say, "Oh, we need a new filter for our tap. Can you send it?" So I was like, "Yeah, sure." And then one time, like someone called up, I was like, "Oh, I need a new filter for myself." I said, "Yeah, can I just have your details, please?" Gave me his details. I was like, "Oh, Sir Jeff Hurst." I was like, yes, yeah, no worries, mate, no worries, yeah, sure. I didn't know what to say or what to do, but yeah, I sold Jeff Hurst a tap filter once. That's my claim to fame. Yeah, it's not much, but I'll take it. Right, it's definitely gone off subject today. Now, should we quickly have a quick chat about the game? now the comments have just gone off on their own way now, haven't they? They really have. Should we talk about the game against Everton and the Freiburg game next week in the Europa League? Now, as I've said that I think we should be we should definitely put out the same team that we have that we put out against Brentford. Brentford last night. I think we should keep with the same team because they done well and they don't. But I think we should be making changes for the Freiburg game next week. Now, we've got Everton this weekend, then we got Freiburg, then we got Burnley, then we got Freiburg, then we got Aston Villa. I think that all those games are very winnable games. Maybe bar the Aston Villa one, depending. They are a little bit more vulnerable away from home than they are at home. How many points? I mean, if we say the wins against Freiburg will be points, how many points should we be picking up in those games? Do you think that we can win them all? Now, I think we're capable of it, but will we? I think the hardest one is probably going to be the Everton one this weekend because they're going to have a little bit of boost because they got those points back, and they are at home. They have beaten us already once this season. So I think that's going to be the most difficult game we've got coming up because I feel like we can handle Freiburg. We've done it once away from home and at home. So I feel like we can get that done. Not that we should be taking that game lightly, but do you think that we can pick up the win against Everton at the weekend? What do you reckon the score's going to be? Let's have some score predictions. Do you think he will keep the same team, or do you reckon he'll change anything? And if he does need to change anything, what do you think he should change? I'd stick. Only one I would have question marks around is Zuma. Yeah. You would never accuse Moyes of being a tinker man, so probably the same 11 at Goodson. He likes to tinker occasionally. But he definitely, I mean, he dropped a Aguirre, didn't he? Which I didn't think he would do. So I think that was a sign that he was willing to do something different. We shall see. We've only won around 30% of our games historically against the Toffs. Got some huge players. Zuma needs to stay on the bench. Let's not make an assumption that he's going to drop Zuma because I don't think he will. I think he's going to keep Zuma in the side, no matter what we think, no matter how he performs. He's the captain. He's going to be one of the first names on the team sheet, whether we believe it or not. So Zuma will be there. But yeah, we don't have the greatest record against Everton, and I think historically that's why I've never really liked Everton because I remember we always lost against them. But more recently, we have been doing a lot better against them. So we're definitely capable of getting the win. Definitely capable. You think Moyes will revert to type now? He has won a game. I hope not. Possible, but I hope not. I hope he takes something. He learns from the performance yesterday and tries to progress and tries to implement that in every single game. And you know, you heard the way I heard him speaking, but you can only get. I criticised the way he was speaking after the Nottingham Forest game. So if I hear him say something positive, I've got to come out and say that I think the way he spoke was very positive, and the way he spoke after the game yesterday, I think personally was very positive. The way he was speaking, and he kind of like the things he was saying, I was agreeing with. Like, yes, it was good. We were more attacking. We were more physical. We were, we done this. There was a lot of things that I didn't like, and he named them. And I was like, yeah, I agree with that. So I agreed with everything he said yesterday. So if he is actually believing what he's saying, then he will implement a similar kind of system to what he played yesterday. If he believes what he's saying. Now, this will be left to see, but I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt at the moment. Not that me not giving him the benefit of the doubt will change his mind whatsoever. That's not going to happen, but I'll be willing to give him the benefit of the doubt at the moment. You predict the score being 2-0 to West Ham? I feel like that's optimistic, but I'd like it. How many points do we get in our next 5 games? Is our next 5 Premier League games? Or our next 5 Premier League games? I know our next 3 Premier League games against Everton, Burnley, Aston Villa. Who we got after that? I can't remember that far ahead. I know we got Tottenham, haven't we? I think Tottenham's in there as well. And I think there's a pesky European break at some point. Who we got? We got Newcastle on the 30th. Yeah, so we have Aston Villa on the 16th. Then I think it's either an FA Cup break or whatever. Then we got Newcastle on the 30th. Then we got Tottenham on the 2nd and Wolves on the 6th. Now, Newcastle is at St James's Park. Very difficult place to go. So next 5 Premier League games, I reckon we get a point against Everton. I reckon we get a win against Burnley. I reckon we will win against Aston Villa. I think we will lose against Nottingham Forest. And then I think we will do the double over Tottenham. Being positive. So that's what, 3, 6, 10. 10 points in our next 5 games. I'm being optimistic. How many points do you reckon we'll get out of those games? Trevor bought you a drink, spoke about everything except West Ham, even though he knew I was a fan. He is everything you thought he would be, a real gentleman. Oh, that's really great to hear. I'd love to meet some of the old timers. Souček and Alvarez need to have another very good game. Everton midfield is underrated. Yeah, I do agree with that. They got some good players in their midfield. If Zuma is in, these 3 at the back as they are limpet merchants. Yeah, again. I hate the fact that the second leg starts at 5:45 instead of 8 o'clock. Yeah, that was actually something else I wanted to talk about. Like that really infuriated me. Really infuriated me. Now, it doesn't affect me personally because I can still get to the game because I only work about half an hour away from the stadium. So it does not really affect me too much. I can still get to the game on time. But as I say, I'm on TikTok and I did a post about this on TikTok and I saw a lot of comments from season ticket holders and fans that usually go to these games saying that they couldn't make it. They couldn't make this game because of the time, because it was just too awkward. It didn't fit in with their school schedule or their work schedule or travel schedules, because a lot of fans come from a little bit further away. Not all fans are local, so it's been met with a lot of frustration, this 5:45 kickoff, and there is a big fear that we're just going to struggle to sell out because of this time. Now, I would encourage any fan that can't make it to resell their ticket, stick it on the reselling side, get it out there, and just try and encourage as many people to try and get to this game as possible, just to try and make it like a really, really great atmosphere. Because the players may need it, they may need that extra support, but it is a joke that he's kicking off at 5:45. A joke. And it's all because of money. It is all because of the television deals that they've got going, and that UEFA do not want 4 Premier League teams, and Rangers all kicking off at exactly the same time, because that's what it'll be. You'd have Liverpool, Brighton, Aston Villa, West Ham and Rangers all kicking off at 8 o'clock, and they don't want that because they don't want to split the viewers between all those games. So that's why West Ham has been sacrificed and Rangers have been sacrificed to play at 5:45 on the home leg, which I think is ridiculous and does not put the fans first. Something that really has annoyed me about that. As much as I have no complaints about last night's result, I'd like to have seen moves get a few mins at the end. Well, Mubama. Yeah, I think that would have been nice to see him get a few minutes at the end. That is one of my criticisms of Moyes, that when we've put games to bed, or games have been put to bed for us, so to speak, like in that 6-0 loss against Arsenal, why didn't he just put some of the younger players on just to give them experience against some Premier League opposition? Why? It doesn't make any sense to me. I would have liked to seen him have a little bit of a run out. Totally agree with that. Scars make more sense. Your ears look so red. Yeah, I don't know why they look so red. I told you I'm not feeling fantastic today, but I have noticed that my ears look really red. I don't know why they look so red. I'm cold actually. Actually, they're freezing. It's probably because they're probably cold. I do apologize. I think my face is starting to look a little bit red as well. That's because I think I've been kind of like not feeling particularly well. No, Phillips was not on the bench last night. He was suspended. Right. Do you know what? On that on that comment of my ears, I think that is a sign for me to end this live tonight. So thank you all very much for joining, as per usual. It's good that we can talk about something positive for a change as something negative. So hopefully next Tuesday we get to talk about yet another positive result with a win against Everton. That would be great. So I'm going to say my goodbyes, and hopefully I will be back to breathing normally next week and not looking so red and tired, hopefully. So thank you very much for all joining. Thank you for the chat. It's been great fun, as it usually is. And I will be back next Tuesday at 9 p.m. I hope you all have a fantastic week and a great weekend. And I'll see you next week. Good night, guys.